Hi, my name is Natasha and I run Bali Model Agency here in Indonesia. And welcome to Wickedly Well. Now I can just hear you say, why Wickedly Well and why this podcast? We believe here at BMA that holistic living, a healthy, balanced lifestyle is the key to any industry, not just the modeling industry, but your everyday, today activities and how to handle life with life's pressures at the moment. There's so much going on. So having a healthy mind and a healthy body is key. So join us here on Wickedly Well, where we will have experts, models, creatives who can share their tips and traits and how to live a balanced, healthy lifestyle. So let's kickstart the show with Sabrina, who's one of our models here at BMA. Not only is she a model, but she also has a knack for biohacking and is about to launch her Biohacking for Beginners course very soon. So let's jump straight into it. Hi, Sabrina, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I'm just going to start off with the most obvious question. What is biohacking?
Okay, so biohacking has become such a trendy word, and so many people are confused because a lot of people think that it's like you're hacking your technology of your body, but actually it's really about optimizing your health using different habits, lifestyle changes. And of course, if you want to go that far, you can use tracking devices, red light therapy, sauna. So yeah, you can use technology for sure, but I would say that's more advanced. But if you want to go to the core, it really is about optimizing your health.
What has inspired you to become a biohacker? And how has this affected your life in the modeling career and your day-to-day?
So as a model, you have to be at your peak performance. You have to give 100%. You know, it's very high energy. You're on set for maybe 8 to 10 hours a day in sometimes extreme conditions.
More than that.
You can be in on the beach at 30-degree heat in the sun, and you want to be able to have that high energy and perform your best in front of the camera, right? So how do you do that? You have optimal sleep. How do you get that? You need to really be mindful of your sleeping habits. Also, depending on what time you finish eating, for example, makes a huge difference for me. If I eat close to bedtime, I will have a worse sleep. So that's where kind of also intermittent fasting can come into play, where you can optimize your sleep, your recovery. And for me, I really leaned into biohacking when I realized my health was struggling as a vegan. I was vegan for 7 years, and in the beginning, I was super healthy. You know, I looked my best. I did have some skin issues and acne, but I wasn't sure if that was due to stress. And after about 5 years of being vegan, I noticed changes in my body, such as weight loss, where I wouldn't be able to build muscle. I was eating a very plant-based, whole foods diet and trying to cut out any sugar, any processed foods, gluten, dairy for sure was not in my diet. And even still, I was having digestive issues. So unfortunately, the diet didn't work for me anymore. And I realized that my hormones were struggling and my fat percentage was really low. And even though this was a real challenge for me to go back to eating animal-based diet, I had to make that tough call because I was just struggling. And I think that's when it really shifted for me. Is like, okay, I need to do self-experimentation on what works for me, because something that might work for you might not work for me, and vice versa. So biohacking is really that kind of self-experimentation, learning what works for you.
Yeah, I always say that you have to listen to your body, like very in tune with your body and just listen, because your body will tell you.
Exactly.
And I was also vegan for 7 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Stop.
And I started eating eggs a few months ago because my body, I felt like my nails were cracking in the middle. I just felt like my body really, it was calling for eggs, for omelets. And I tried everything, like making omelets, all sorts of vegan omelets you can think of. And I did everything. And then I was eating it and I was just not, it wasn't doing anything for me. And I was just like, just eat the egg, just eat it.
Yeah.
And I obviously got the organic and free range and the best egg that I possibly can. And I started eating that and I feel way better.
It's true. It's interesting. Yes, everybody's different, but overall, generally speaking, us women especially, we do need that animal protein, and because for our hormone health, right? Like,
Right.
a lot of the time, the vegan diet is very limited in those healthy fats and that protein that we need to balance our hormones. And that's why it is so important. I know that for me, I changed so much since incorporating, the animal-based diet again. I was able to build muscle, put on fat, my skin looks better, I feel healthier. I was having naps in the middle of the day, the last few years of being vegan, and I thought it was normal, but now that I don't need naps, I'm like, okay, this was not normal. I was like in my late 20s having midday naps, and that should not be, the case. So it really goes back to listening to your body, as you said.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I can ever eat meat again or any like fish, but I think an egg is a superfood. It's
Yeah.
a really good place to start. You don't have to do it often, but just when your body really needs it, I think it's really good. Because I'm also very in tune with what I eat and whole plant-based food.
What works for you is
Yeah.
the best way forward, I think.
So why is hormone health so particularly so good for women? Why do we need to be focused on that?
It's extremely important for women because our hormones are connected to everything else in our body. So this will be with, your metabolism, your gut, your skin, your immunity. Everything is connected to your hormone health, and our hormones fluctuate during the month as well. So they're very different from men's hormones, which are, 24-hour cycle, every single day, the same, super stable, very different from us. But, we have to realize it's a superpower to have this menstrual cycle, to have this flow, this fluctuation that we have every single month. It's just wonderful once you start to use it to your advantage and once you learn how to live your best life with your cycle. And the way to do that, I think the best way is to get your hormones tested.
Okay.
Because you don't really know what you're working with and how your hormones are if you don't know the basics of your levels, right?
Yeah.
If you think about hormones, your body will tell you signs. There's different signs of hormone imbalances. There's thyroid dysfunction, there's estrogen dominance, which shows itself in PMS, bloating, mood swings, thyroid dysfunction, which is also fatigue and skin issues and weight gain unexpected. There's also adrenal fatigue. So if your adrenals are, working overtime, you will have anxiety, you have a lot of stress,
Right.
all
Yes.
of these things. So these are kind of really important to take a look at to see how you can balance them. But, there's so many easy ways to kind of go back to basics and, balance your hormones naturally.
Speaking of that, let's just do burnout. Let's just go straight to burnout now that you've been talking about it.
Yeah, so there's different hormones in each phase. So we have the follicular phase where
Okay.
estrogen is rising, and it sort of peaks around your ovulation phase, which is like where you feel your sexiest, you're super confident, you're like ready to take on the world. And this is also when testosterone is the highest at the same time.
Okay.
So that's why you're like frisky. And then, it starts to drop slowly in the luteal phase. So that's around the last like 12, 14 days of your cycle. And this is where when estrogen is dropping and testosterone is dropping and progesterone is coming up. And this is the hormone that is going to make you feel more calm, make you want to go introverted a little bit and really kind of reflect and take it easier. And when you know which hormone is kind of taking charge at which point of your cycle, you can lean into that more.
So eating chocolate is okay because that's what I heard. Progesterone wants the chocolates.
Yes, in luteal phase,
Okay.
high quality chocolate is actually really good for the body. You know, it has magnesium in it. It like helps with cramps, with PMS, and we need a little bit of a sugary treat. You know, life is about balance, so
Yeah.
definitely agree.
Yeah, not take life so seriously. It's okay to have a little chocolate.
Yeah, have
Very
a little
good
bit.
cacao.
I love
So
cacao.
good.
You know, sacred cacao.
Yes, I love. It's my favorite, and I'm obsessed with the bowls.
Ooh.
Yeah, they make these like smoothie bowls. They are divine.
Really,
I'm
I'm
obsessed.
I love their gluten-free waffle with like ugh,
It's so good, and they
so
make
good.
it with How are we talking about it? But they make it with sweet potato.
Do they?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
sweet potato flour. I
That's
think they use.
that is perfect. So if you're in your luteal phase, you want to have a sweet treat, opt for like something with a complex carb such as sweet potato and some cacao. So yeah, perfect.
I think we all go through it. We all get to a point where it just gets too much. I just a little about myself, just a little bit of the history. One of the biggest reasons why I'm doing this podcast is 3 years ago I had a burnout. Worked too hard and I just forgot about me. I forgot about my body. I wasn't in it. I was everywhere else. I was trying to save the world, working hard, just do my thing, totally forgetting about taking care of myself. Because I want everyone to be focused on their bodies and how can we prevent burnout? What can we do, just to take it easy a little bit.
Absolutely. Burnout has become so common now. I know so many people suffering from burnout or that have suffered, friends of mine. And what it comes down to, I think, is it starts creeping in slowly and you sort of don't realize until it's too late, right?
Yeah.
That is
exactly.
why daily practice of stress management is so important. Even taking like a few minutes break a day, going inward, calming your nervous system. You know, you can do different things like EFT tapping, visualizations, meditations, guided breath work, just little things throughout the day where you take a moment for yourself. And I think over-consuming social media can play a big role in burnout because you're constantly comparing
Yeah.
yourself to others and constantly thinking that you need to do more to be more, but actually you're enough just as you are.
There is also this thing when you're constantly on Instagram, you're basically constantly busy, but it's just 2 hours. Before I know it, I'm 2 hours scrolling. And that also makes you burned out, because you're not
course.
focused and you're not in your body. We need to stop doing waking up in the morning and just
Yes.
taking
Your
that
morning
phone.
time is supposed to be your sacred time before you let the world in, right?
Absolutely.
And what you were just saying about the scrolling, it's an it's overstimulation and it's information overload. Our
Yeah.
brains are not meant to process that much information every single day. So of course people get stressed out and have anxiety.
What's the primary signs?
Of burnout?
Yeah. What can we look?
Primary signs are if you sleep, you wake up and you're still tired, even if you got enough sleep. You feel unmotivated. You feel constant fatigue, stress, and anxiety, and you just don't feel like yourself in your body.
How can we prevent it?
Preventing burnout is really about taking the time for yourself to notice that you really need to take note of your emotional state and of your stress. And for everyone that's going to be different, but I think getting the right amount of sleep every night is definitely very helpful to prevent burnout.
We all have to take our responsibility. It's our responsibility to take care of ourselves. No one else is going to take care of you as well as you're going to take care of yourself. And like you say, you have to wake up in the morning and it has to be a me time. And you have to just sit down and be quiet. And it's such a cliche, but it's true. The only thing that works, in my opinion, is meditation. And just be quiet for at least 15 minutes every morning, and I think that's a good start of the day.
It is. You know why? Because women, cortisol is at its highest in the morning when we wake up. That's why we should take it easy in the morning and have a slow morning and not drink coffee first thing on an empty stomach. Please stop doing that, ladies.
Oopsie. It was only this morning, okay?
Yeah, once is okay.
Give me a break. No. Yeah, no, I did it this morning. I was like, oh, it's so bad.
Look, once in a while it happens, but it's more about, I used to do it every morning on an empty stomach, and that just shot my cortisol up. It was stressing me out the whole day, you know?
And we think it's okay, but it's not. Once you stop doing it and like today I had shakes. I had like serious shakes, and I was like, that's, on an empty stomach is the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, it's not like you do it every day. What I think is, if you can do everything as best as you possibly can. You can read all the books, you can listen to all the podcasts, you can listen to everyone saying, you need to do this and this and this, and you can try really hard. And I, for one, are one of those people where I'm trying to do everything perfectly. Wake up, I have my set routine, I take the dog for a walk, I do this and this and this and this. You can do it to the best. You have to choose your poison, or you have to
100%.
choose. You can't put so much pressure on yourself to try and do the right thing. As long as you just try and be more aware of doing these things, that's good enough.
I agree. Otherwise, it gets overwhelming. And then you're stressing yourself out with these wellness habits.
Trying to do the right thing, which is totally not the way we want it to go. Cycle syncing. I find that really, I know nothing about it.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm obsessed. Cycle syncing has changed my life for the better.
Share.
Okay, so it's really just about knowing where you are in your cycle. You can do this by using an app where you track, you basically put in the last few periods that you had, when you had them, and then it gives you predictions on when your next cycle is going to be.
Right.
And there's amazing apps. The one that I really like to use is called Stardust. I like it because it doesn't share your data to third parties, so it keeps it private. Also, you can add your friends, so it means that you can see where your friends are in their cycle.
How cute is that? So you know when to take it easy a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
I can be a bit hardcore sometimes. I can be very straightforward, and some of my girlfriends. Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So how many friends do you have in your calendar?
I just have 4.
Just
four, because we like to keep the circle small. But I think it's nice because you can also share it with your partner. So that's a little game changer as well. But for cycle syncing, you will know basically, for example, you have the 3 things that you really want to think about, your kind of energy levels and social interactions that you want to do. You want to look at it as your menstruation is your winter. You're going inward, you're taking rest, you need lots of sleep, you want to take it easier, so you don't want to maybe do any HIIT classes during this time.
Or yoga.
Yeah, you can do yoga, you can do some strength, you can do strength training, and it is recommended, but just lower reps and lower weights, so you don't want to push yourself. And then you go into follicular phase, which is starting after your period finishes. And this is your inner spring. This is when you start to get your energy back. You want to be more social. You want to see your friends. You want to birth new ideas. You want to get creative. This is a great time for nutrition to be fresh, raw foods, fermented veggies, smoothies. You want to focus on light foods for the spring. Then your ovulation is summer. So, you're feeling good. That's summer energy, your peak confidence. You want to schedule maybe important events around this time. So, you want to maybe ask for a raise at this time because, you're just glowing. You're glowing, right? And it's true that this is a real thing. You look different when you're ovulating than when you're in your luteal phase or menstruation. Your face changes. I see it so much within myself. During ovulation, your face literally glows and you're just a goddess. And then in luteal and menstruation, you're just a bit more your inner critic comes out. This is a time when, you need to be mindful of the way that you speak to yourself and speak nice things to yourself, because you will potentially have these intrusive thoughts that could be negative. And once you are aware of them, that's when you can change them. So luteal phase, which is the phase I'm in right now, is a time to take more rest, to have also potentially sleep an hour longer. You know, your body is preparing for your period, so you need to take that extra time. Your immune system is lower at this time as well. So again, try to take it a little bit easier. Your stress levels might be higher, so limit caffeine, have more complex carbs because your digestion is faster around this time. You need 10% more calories during this time. That's why people get, you know, the cravings before your period. It's because your digestion is faster. So there's a lot of things, like once you know, like it just flows better, and you don't feel like, oh, I don't know why this is happening. I don't know why I feel this way. You feel good in your body because you know it's for a reason.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like you and your best friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your body is your best friend.
Yeah.
It's your only home that you have for your
Be kind
life.
to it. Okay, so I have a question for the male listeners out there. So what tips do you have for the males, for the guys, for the partners, you know, to take it a little bit easy? How can they spoil their partners? How can they make it easier for them?
I think if you want to be in tune with your partner's needs, you can download an app so that you know what phase of the cycle your partner is in, and that's how you can then best support them, right? Because you'll know if the period is coming up. You might want to just be more gentle and, you know, take it easy on them, and, you know, maybe give a little back rub or get them a nice sweet potato waffle. Just have empathy. You know, I think men forget that we don't have the same 24-hour cycle as them. So we are fluctuating, and we have these different moods throughout the month. They're like different phases of us. So if you can be empathetic to that, that's the best way to support it, I think.
It'll be good to be in tune. And I think guys do want to do that. They do want to understand. They care about you, right?
Yeah.
So it is nice for them to have these tips, how they can take care of their partners. For everyone out there that is very interested in biohacking, do you have any advice for them? Like, what advice can you give for people that are really into it, but they don't know where to start?
Absolutely. Okay, so first of all, follow me on Instagram at The Positive Lady, because I'm always sharing biohacking tips. But if you want to start small. Start with one habit per week that you can change. So for me, I think the number one habit is mindset. You want to have a positive mindset, a growth mindset. Otherwise, you can do all the biohacks in the world and they won't do anything because it all starts.
You have to believe it. Yeah.
And the second one is sleep. You want to optimize your sleep. That's the time when your body heals itself. So start with sleep and start avoiding processed foods.
Yes, that's a big thing. It's scary what's in there. Is there any other biohacking tips that people can do as well?
There's so many, but start with
those
one.
3.
Yeah, start with one and then work your way into it.
How do they always say, do 1% better? Than the next day, and you'll get there. A topic that I'm also very keen on, intermittent fasting. I know it's a big topic. What is the right way in doing it?
I think the narrative right now is we are still modeling our health with the scientific research based on men, but we need to really look at implementing it for women based on our cycles again. So you can't just do intermittent fasting the same way that men do because their hormonal cycles are different, right? So for women who have a menstrual cycle, we want to split it up into different ways of fasting. So during menstruation, you can fast for maybe, let's say, 13, 14 hours. Again, listening to your body. You might likely want more food during this time. In follicular phase, this is where you can really take advantage of fasting longer periods of time. This is where you can even do a 24-hour fast, which is amazing. I've done that a month ago, and I just had, coconut water. I had a little bit of bone broth just to take the edge off of fasting for 24 hours. And then during ovulation, actually, you can still fast around 12 to 14 hours, but because during ovulation, you shouldn't do longer fasts. And then during luteal phase, the last 2 weeks of your cycle, fasting is not recommended for more than 12 to 13 hours again. So it's really about listening to your hunger signals. The thing is, when women, me included, years ago, when you don't have hunger in the morning, that's actually a sign that your hormones are off balance. You're supposed to feel hunger in the first few hours of
Oh,
waking.
really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. It is.
I was thinking, like, why am I so hungry?
It's a good thing.
Okay.
It means your body is healthy. What I would suggest is, rather than starting your day with eating at like 11 or 12, stop eating around, as you said, around sunset time.
Yeah.
I have my last meal around 5 to 6 p.m.
Me too.
And it is a game changer for my
Feel
sleep.
amazing.
Yes, for my sleep, for my recovery. Because I wear a health tracking device, and I could tell that was the habit that literally changed the game for me.
What do you look at when you're tracking?
So there's different tracking devices, and they measure your stress levels, your heart rate, your cycle as well. They track your steps, they track your sleep, your recovery, and they kind of give you an overlook of, what are some of the things that you do during the day that are helpful, or maybe some things you can change. So I probably wouldn't wear it for the rest of my life, but I think it's really good to kind of get a sense of where you are right now and what you can improve on.
Is there anything else you think the viewers need to know, or what you would like to share? I know you have a online course.
I do.
But you're launching
do.
soon.
I am, yeah.
So that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have done so much research and self-experimentation over the last few years, and I know how overwhelming it can be for people out there to get started with biohacking and know what are the basics, what is it about. So I've combined everything that I know into this 7-module course of beginner knowledge that is digestible and just easy to use. And I'm really excited to get people into biohacking and to get their energy back, their metabolism thriving, and just feel their best selves. So it's really exciting.
Amazing. Cannot wait to get my hands on it. Thank you very much for joining me on Wickedly Well. You're our first guest, literally the launching episode. And yeah, thank you so much. You're amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
If you guys liked the episode, please subscribe and share with your friends. And if there is anything else that you would like us to cover, or there is thoughts on this episode, or any other remarks, please let us know in the comment section down below.